Hello there my dear friends, and welcome back to yet another very exciting Star Wars video. It is I, coming at you once again, your favourite galactic hostess, Star Wars Meg, and today we are talking about Ahsoka Season 2. We're going to be looking at some brand new concept art, some rumours, and a few tidbits I've heard, and we also have some Star Wars movie updates. It's going to be a lot of fun. Now before we dive into it, if you don't mind just doing me a huge favour, please be sure to hit the big subscribe button down below. We are nearly at 148,000 subs, trying to make it to 150 by the end of the year, and we're coming up to 2,000 uploads. It's been a heck of a journey the last 5 years, thank you all so much if you've been part of this journey. But I want to grow our community, so be sure to join, hit the like button, spread the word if you enjoy what I do. But no more jibber jabber, let's dive straight in. So much of the concept art from Star Wars Celebration for Ahsoka Season 2 was really kept under wraps. We never got a proper look at so many of the stills, but thanks to a few accounts on Twitter, today that changes. Take a look at this. Here we have an early morning photo of Ahsoka and Sabine trekking through the mountains of Peridea, trying to find Baylan. And do you notice anything that stands out on the left-hand side of the screen? This wooden log is an example of pareidolia. It's clearly in the shape of a wolf, Dave Filoni's favourite animal, which in the context of Star Wars Rebels has connections to Kanan Jarrus, the world between worlds, and the spiritual realm. I mean, think back to the giant loth wolf called Doom. And notice Sabine's got what I assume is her helmet. It looks like it might be one of Hu Yang's training masks, but it could just be the design of this piece of art. I can confirm to you guys today that for at least some of the season, Sabine is going to be sporting long hair. Not as long as it was at the start of the first season, but something of a bob. And that's why, among other reasons, the behind the scenes photos, the set photos, have been so secretive, and we've just seen the character's shadows. Moving on to our next photos, here are some concepts of the practical sets. We have a really awesome detail in just a moment, but first, we're getting a new hangar for Home 1. In the first season it was a partial set, but for Season 2, we're getting full-scale X-Wings, E-Wings, A-Wings, and in this photo you can see the Ghost. Most impressive, as Vader says. But let's talk about the juiciest photo of the day. This is Ahsoka standing in front of what looks like some kind of temple on Peridea. On the door, there is some kind of engraving which reminds me of the world between worlds.
Tell me what's going on.
And by comparison, in the face of this mighty gate, an ancient gate, Ahsoka looks miniature. If I were to guess, these gates are the entrance to the monastery, the one that Baylan saw while standing on the statue of the Ones. And if you look at the right-hand side of the screen, close to the camera, so to speak, it looks like Ahsoka brought her T6, which makes me think she travelled across Peridea to get here. I don't know if Sabine is with her at this stage. And another consideration, this might not be on Peridea, but a nearby planet or moon. There was a rumour that said we're going to see multiple planets in this system. And what if Baylan travels there and Ahsoka follows behind him? But it's also worth pointing out, my friends, that this frame is reminiscent of a similar shot from Star Wars Rebels Season 2, the final scene of Twilight of the Apprentice, after Ahsoka's duel with Vader on Malachor. We see her walking out of a temple, which Season 4 later reveals is after Ezra saves her, and they both escape the world between worlds after being pursued by Palpatine. I don't know if I'm reaching, but I did notice similarities in the way these shots look. And just like George, Dave Filoni loves visual poetry, and I wouldn't put it past him to make this kind of connection. Maybe we've not seen the last of the world between worlds. Some of the very earliest Baylan theories posited that he wants to manipulate time. I know you might say this is a misconception, and it's not time travel per se, it's a mystical plane within the Force, where there is a collection of doors and pathways. A full explanation of how all timelines converge has never been given, but some people have suggested that when Baylan's talking about the beginning, he might be referring to the world between worlds, which in and of itself, just like we saw in Lothal in Rebels, has a connection to the Mortis gods. Dave Filoni described them as guardians, and if you throw Abeloth into the picture, the bringer of chaos, the sky's the limit for how Baylan fits in and what he might try to do, something that could be galaxy changing. But to be honest with you, I don't think he's going to succeed. So moving on to our next Ahsoka update. On social media, the show has been trending all week. Word had spread to numerous big social media outlets and news outlets that filming on the show had wrapped, and in light of that, there's been a lot of chitter-chatter Some people excited, others not so much, some people scared of what Dave Filoni might do this season, and a big conversation is centered around the question of Shin and Sabine, whether they are going to end up together as a romantic relationship. This all stemmed from Bryce Dallas Howard's words, which I think have been taken a bit too far. While I have speculated on some of the rumors and some of the leaks that have come out, she could have just meant the season on the whole is thematically quite romantic, and maybe she wasn't talking about any one specific relationship. Nonetheless, Ahsoka is the topic du jour, and I commented on someone's post about Ahsoka a couple of days ago, and I've noticed a few people have picked up on this. I received a couple of DMs, I also saw this being mentioned on Reddit I think it was, and what I said in response to someone's post is that Mon Mothma has more scenes in Season 2, the Chancellor of the New Republic. This is something I've known for months and months, but the nature of Mon's scenes are unknown. What I have heard is that in a couple of instances, Dave is drawing inspiration from Heir to the Empire, weaving in a few plot threads without directly adapting the story. It's not going to be one for one, so certain characters who are in both Ahsoka and the expanded universe, are going to mirror one another, whereas others are replacement characters from the Zahn books. I have to be careful with what I say, and I am sprinkling in just a little bit of speculation, but from what I've heard, Mon Mothma and Akbar are quite similar to the way they were in the first of the Thrawn trilogy, when they had conversations with Luke, Han, and Leia. Although I will say, Han and Luke are not in Season 2, but there are lots of rumors that Leia is, even just briefly. If that happens, the conversations might take place on Coruscant, or the capital of the New Republic, Chandrila, which by the way we just saw in live action earlier in the timeline in Andor Season 2. But here's what's been tripping people up. After Andor came to an end, Genevieve O'Reilly got very emotional. She said goodbye to the character and expressed missing playing her. Here's the thing though, the two versions of Mon are very different from one another. In Andor, she was a main character. It was her backstory, her family, the drama surrounding the Senate, escaping to Yavin. Mon was in the spotlight, whereas under Dave Filoni and Ahsoka, the character is much older, and most of the time she's in the background. She doesn't have a central role, not to mention the cast and the crew is different. Working with Tony Gilroy and co. is an extremely different experience to working with Dave, and I'm not trying to put Dave down, but when it comes to Mon, in both Ahsoka Seasons 1 and I presume 2, she's the Chancellor. She's taken on a more bureaucratic role, but it was teased that Mon is taking the threat of Thrawn seriously. So moving on my friends, just a quick movie update. 2027 is poised to be a big year for movies, and the Star Wars offering of course is Star Wars Starfighter. But did you know there is another movie that used to be affiliated with Lucasfilm releasing in the same year, and it has a familiar face starring in it, Amandla Stenberg, the movie adaptation of the book Children of Blood and Bone. Lucasfilm acquired the rights to it in 2019 before Paramount Pictures bought it back in 2022.
This story will center around a young African girl's heart-racing quest to restore magic to her forsaken people.
The movie was originally going to be by Rick Famuyiwa, but now it's by Gina Prince Bythewood. And one of the reasons I bring this up is that recently, Rick Famuyiwa was rumored to be getting his own Star Wars movie. His episodes of Mando have been amazing, character-driven, deep, complex, moral, and I guess I'd love to know what kind of movie you think he should direct. Let me know in the comments down below.